Hey guys, it's Friday, September 8th, 2017. This is the Daily Mix TV. So Nylon magazine has decided to shutter its print edition as they pivot focus to online only. The magazine's October issue will be its last in print. As a result of this closure, the print edition's 12-person staff is being let go. According to a quote from Executive Chairman of Nylon Media, Mark Luzzatto, as a result of the restructure, there will be about 12 layoffs effective immediately. We would like to thank those employees for their dedication in keeping Nylon continuously ahead of the curve. As platforms emerge and change, our voice, content, and brand keep getting stronger, as do our array of marketing solutions. As part of the shift to digital, Nylon will attempt to capitalize on its young female audience via video, an influencer program, as well as their internal creative agency called Nylon Studios. Now, this is just the latest in a continuing trend of women's magazine titles like More, Lucky, and Self shuttering completely or shifting off to a focus on digital. This could have been avoided to a degree had the publishing industry adopted the internet sooner. The minute that you can get a younger generation into a habit pattern, meaning reading the newspaper every morning or reading a magazine every month or constantly targeting them with appropriate messaging to drive back to that traditional print focus, that could have easily avoided some of the problems that are being faced in publishing right now. But, hindsight's always 20/20, guys. I understand why a lot of publishers did what they did at the time. It's just, unfortunately, now a lot of people's jobs are suffering for it. Now, there's some breaking news coming out of the Wall Street Journal. Uber is facing an FBI probe over their program targeting rival Lyft. Federal law enforcement authorities in New York are investigating whether Uber Technologies used software to interfere illegally with its competitors. According to people familiar with the investigation, this is adding to legal pressures facing the embattled ride-hailing company and their new CEO. The investigation is being led by the FBI's New York office and the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, and it's focused on what they're calling a defunct Uber program, which was known internally as Hell. It's alleged that it could track drivers who are working for rival service Lyft, according to insiders. Restaurants have been struggling in the last couple of years, given what we went through in terms of the Great Recession and then the alleged recovery. We didn't really recover completely, guys. They're continuing to struggle as gains have not really been seen since February of 2016. So let's put this into context. You're talking literally a year and a half of no gain. Now that brings them to start to question, what do we do to continually market and target a new and younger audience? So that's brought them to focus on loyalty programs to drive traffic. You see, the success of mobile and other digital loyal programs at Starbucks and Panera Bread, Domino's, amongst a whole slew of others, has caught the restaurant industry's attention. Recent data from market research firms NPD Group and TDN2K show restaurant visits have actually been on the decline. So as of July of 2017, monthly comparable sales hadn't registered a real gain since February of 16. That's a lot, according to TDN2K data showing this trend. Now, holding companies like Focus Brands, they own Moe's Southwest Grill, Auntie Anne's, and Cinnabon, have been getting in on the action with these loyalty program apps. At Moe's, they launched a loyalty app last year called Rockin' Rewards. It replaced its original online ordering app. Now, the new app allowed Moe's to study when customers visit stores, what they buy, and then tailor promos accordingly. So since their launch, 1.2 million users have signed up. That's up to 35% of them considered as highly active. That's a really big percentage. Now, the company wants to reach 2 million users by the end of this year. If they keep on the path that they're on, they should be able to achieve that. But how effective are these loyalty apps really? A lot of people are asking that question because you do have to invest in the development of these apps and then, of course, spend more money to roll them out. Now, the answer does vary, just like a traditional marketing campaign does. It's all dependent on the elements, the creativity, certainly the audience. In this case, when Moe's sent a, quote, "we miss you" message without an offer, via the Rockin' Rewards app to users that hadn't visited in 60 days, 7% of the users returned for a full price visit. That's a big lift, especially for one simple message. Now, when a $5 coupon was sent to users who hadn't visited in about half a year, more than 60% of those who redeemed the coupon returned a second time and paid full price, according to the company. Now, there are other holding companies that are just dipping their toes into this sector now. So Yum Brands, which owns Pizza Hut and KFC and Taco Bell, they just launched out of Pizza Hut their Hut Rewards program this past August. Now, among consumers, loyalty programs have jumped in terms of their ability to drive restaurant visits, according to the NPD Group survey that was just done last year of 9,100 consumers. When asked what would entice them to visit restaurants more often, 46% of respondents mentioned loyalty programs. This was second only to price discounting, which was mentioned by roughly 2/3 of the audience. Now, the percentage of consumers who cited other motivations, including polite staff or competitor couponing or pick and choose or buffets, ranged from about 10 to 30%. Millennials who focus on value and digital price comparison shopping are particularly attracted to loyalty programming. Millennials are a must-have for chains right now that are hurting because casual dining, fast casual, and fast food are all suffering across the board. Of course, there are blips of health, like with McDonald's and stuff like that, who've started to grow back some of the business that they lost given their health issues or healthy food issues last year and the year before. These guys need to win over millennial hearts and minds in order to maintain their revenues and hopefully continue to grow. It's a very, very trying time in the restaurant industry. Consumer surveys also offer insight into why an online loyalty program is increasingly a must-have for restaurants. The majority of loyalty customers said they're more loyal and visit more often and would be more likely to recommend a place where they are a loyalty member, according to a separate NPD study. Now, marketers and businesses are stating they don't trust Facebook any longer. They've cited a severe lack of transparency and endless mistakes in analytics as the problem. That lack of transparency is also troubling to many observers. You've got influencers and CEOs that are openly calling the platform out for not showing the alleged ads with quotes from Russia, with quotes like, quote, "Show us the ads, Zuck." Accusations that Facebook is profiting off of fake news and that they've had political preferences being accused by conservatives of censoring right-wing voices and stories, while on the liberal side, on the other side of the aisle, they've raised concerns about exploitation of personal information to target ads. So on the business front, though, they've been constantly error-prone in reporting and analysis for advertisers. Now, this is just the latest in a long saga of Facebook's credibility problem. Sadly, for a company whose entire foundation is predicated on friendship, they're really proving themselves hard to trust. What I want to focus on today is Facebook's lack of credibility and accountability in the advertising and media arenas. Let me give you an example. When you buy any media, typically you've got a reach number that's reported by an audit bureau of some kind. Well, Facebook has claimed that they reach about 41 million users in the US that are aged 18 to 49. That's actually not even remotely possible. According to the latest US Census, there are 31 million people in the United States that are aged 18 to 24. So the question really becomes, is this intentionally misleading to game the price per click, or further evidence of mismanagement and incompetence? Now, in response to these problems, companies like Procter & Gamble are really bucking digital spend. P&G has removed roughly $180 million in digital spending across many digital media and social platforms. Their CMO, Mark Pritchard, shocked the industry last year when he threatened to pull ad dollars because of a lack of transparency and appropriate audits, and then actually followed through with it this past year. So I still applaud him for this decision because, frankly, it's forced a lot of people to finally start asking the right questions. You keep chasing a trend, and in this case, it's the social trend of Facebook is hot, Instagram's hot, Snapchat's hot. Great. But are you getting an actual ROI for your dollar? Now, with Facebook, they've had a lot of mistakes in terms of their analytics, in terms of over-reporting or, oversaturating their reports with, buffer numbers, gross numbers, those kinds of things. So it's nice to see that people are finally starting to ask those questions and say, is this real? Am I really hitting X amount of users with this ad? Now, like many changes in our world, this one's going to take time to have an effect, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. Cosmetics queen Bobbi Brown launches new lower-priced lipstick collection to much fanfare, and she's just getting started. You see, there's a reason why Bobbi Brown Cosmetics is so successful. The beauty maven has always stayed ahead of trend. She is very pedantic about this and keeps an eye on everything that's going on with respect to pop culture, certainly consumer spending patterns, those kinds of things. As an example, they were among the first to diversify their products by creating a massive shade range, as well as including women of color in their campaigns before most were even remotely thinking about it. Now this time, Bobbi Brown is introducing a lower price range for her makeup, starting with lipstick. Their crushed lip color collection will be the first offering at a more affordable price point as part of a campaign aimed to target younger women than their usual demographic. Now, given what we know is happening in the economy, and the fact that millennials are the first generation to make less than their older generation counterparts comparatively, this is a brilliant move by a genius marketer. Congratulations to Team Bobbi Brown. I'm so excited to see what's next. Now, we've all seen the pictures and video coming out of Texas, the Caribbean, and the Bahamas. The devastation from Hurricane Harvey and Irma are just so sad to watch. And the horrific thought of another hurricane, Jose, sitting on Irma's back door that could deliver a 1-2 punch to the southeast is just maddening. But on the positive side of these storms, and I talked about this the other day briefly, it's amazing to see how many companies are chipping in with their own money, as well as raising additional funds to help with disaster relief. Even some Democrats and Republicans are crossing the aisle and joining forces to help get relief to storm-ravaged areas. My hope is that out of these horrific tragedies can come some good with people remembering that we are all Americans and what it really is like to work together for a common good versus the division we've experienced over the last decade. Godspeed to all my friends in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas with Hurricane Irma. Please stay safe out there, guys. Don't be brave. Evacuate areas where it's mandatory, as Irma is the most dangerous hurricane of our lifetime. Now, lastly, Monday is the 16th anniversary of the terror attacks of 9/11. I lost a lot of friends that day, as I know many of you did as well. Every year, I wonder why 9/11 is not a federal holiday so that we can properly honor the people who were killed that day. For our part, Hill Story Marketing is closed to perform a day of service. As such, the Daily Mix TV will not air on Monday. I encourage all businesses to close on September 11th to lend a hand where they can and to honor those we call the fallen. God rest and God bless. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. We would love to hear from you, so please email us at thedailymixtv@gmail.com. Have a great weekend, folks.